Gunfights with untrained liberals? Come on, I can only get so hard. Hashtag Civil War. And then the next response is, you're a vet, so you'll probably kill yourself with a gun before you get anywhere near the combat.
Oh, you know.
What was his tweet in response?
Yeah, I would like to start. So section 1 kind of outlines, your beautiful racism that we've got going on here.
Based. Okay.
Your Kyle Rittenhouse simping.
Based.
Section 2 is your league perversions. Okay. Really concerned about.
Gotcha.
And then section 3 is, not even sure. It kind of devolves from there. Let's maybe start at section 3.3. Evidence 3.3.
Are you trying to trigger me preemptively? Why would we start a doc at section 3.3 instead of 1.1? Just curious.
Well, I would like to begin asking you questions at evidence 3.3.
Okay. This is to trigger me. Gotcha. That's fine. Okay. We're 3.3 it is then. All right. How would you like to begin?
Well, maybe you could start by just reading the tweets out for all of us, just so we're all on the same page.
Okay, hold on. Stay there. Hold on, I'm sorry. This is... You have like my favorite tweets from all time listed here. I'm sorry, let me get...
Yeah, your mic's a little bit fucky on my end. Is it coming through strange? Am I coming through on your end poorly?
No, you sound great. Okay, I'm scrolling down. Oh, I can just Control F. 3.3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. If you'd like to open, so I've provided both the imagery or the link, whichever you'd prefer to utilize. If you could just maybe walk us through, read it out for us.
Okay. Refer to me. So I'm responding to. I can't see the full tweet I'm responding to, but what I can see is refer to me as and think of me as a woman/girl. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people think I'm cis, and that bothers me somewhat. LOL. Right. My quote tweet is, I feel like I'm in high school again, so I can add genderqueer to my stuff now as well, right? Question mark. Chad, not Chad.
Okay, so quick question. Did you add genderqueer to your stuff?
I don't know. Is it on there? Hold on, let me check. The omniliberal. Yes, it is.
Okay, good. I'm glad to see we're consistent. Okay, can you continue reading this document for us?
I wonder if it was there before or after. So that's awesome. Okay. Delaniac, number 3, Destiny Dick Rider on Twitter, with a rose in his profile, so you know he's done, responds, you are over 30 years old. And I responded,
so my objection here would be relevance.
Well, people should know our affiliation. It's not just a random guy, okay? We've got history, okay?
Okay.
He responds, I respond. Hold on, I have to, dude, I need a drink. I respond, wrong. I actually identify as minor queer / ageist, so you can keep your transphobia out of my timeline. And somebody different responds, Steven, you're smarter than this and better versed in trans discourse than this. Stop this childishness. And then I respond, in quotes, childishness, end quote, is transphobic because I am currently fluidly identifying as a 45-year-old. Please respect me. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Did they respect you after this?
I don't know, actually. I'd have to go and check. Maybe they did.
Okay. So question, do you still identify as a 45-year-old? And if so, how should I address you?
So not currently, but that was an other of mine that was identifying as 45 years old. My other is ageist, but I, as you're talking to right now, Stephen Bunnell, am not. So I currently
are we
identify
saying
30,
DID?
Well, my other would, but I don't believe in that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I understand. Can you read out just again that second response that you had?
Wrong.
I need to be able to own the lull in chat.
Wait. Let me pause these. I said, wrong. I actually identify as minor queer / ageist, so you can keep your transphobia out of my timeline.
And just so the audience can be aware, can you define ageist for us?
Yes. So an ageist might be somebody that believes in ages, but an ageist is somebody that is anti-age. They do not believe in the strict social construct that is ageism.
Right. Could we speak potentially to your other? I would like them to define for their own experience how they knew that they were ageist.
How they knew? I can access some of their writings at the time. They said that they knew that they were ageist because they identify that way.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay.
I would like to now move to evidence 4.1.
Okay. We can't go from 3.3 to 3.4, huh?
No.
Okay. 4.1. Yes.
All right. Could you outline for the audience what has happened in this, who the Serfs is in your relation to them?
The Serfs TV, aka Lance, is another online content creator that I've had the pleasure and displeasure of associating with on multiple streams in the past.
Okay. Would you identify your relationship as close?
I would say adversarial.
Could you maybe read out their statement and then your response to it?
Yes, hold on. Sorry, I had vampires in the background. He said, the number of Jewish people who joined in on the charity stream yesterday with messages of, quote, solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters, end quote. We stand together against this apartheid regime, another end quote. Lance is, some would say, illiterate. Was truly the most inspiration part of it all. Sick. I don't know how I can say sick, S-I-C, but thanks so much, everyone, exclamation mark. And then I responded.
Qualify how Lance is illiterate, please?
Well, oftentimes when we get into arguments over things and he links me articles, I notice that by simply reading the article, it kind of disproves a lot of what he's saying, which leads me to believe that he has trouble reading, I think.
Right. Do you feel that this tweet calls for some serious speculation?
Does this tweet call for some serious speculation? Not much. No, I don't think so.
So read your response.
My response was directly funding terrorism, yikes, with a link to an NGO monitor page that goes on to detail a number of ways in which this international organization has been both accused of directly funding Hamas and has been cut off from funding in several countries because of their ties to Hamas.
Right. Outline how this is not speculation.
I guess if you could argue those other organizations are speculating.
Okay. All right. Can you continue with your follow-up?
My next tweet is, waiting for the Vosh arc, where he explains that Sunni oppression under al-Malik in Iraq actually justifies the existence and operation of ISIS. And then the next...
Did this tweet happen?
Vosh has me blocked, so unfortunately I have to plead ignorance there. I'm not sure.
Okay. Final response, please.
In quote, Iraq's government had the support of the U.S. government and all the Western powers implicitly allowed this oppression while standing by. And then, in caps, did you not see what happened at Anbar? This isn't a conflict. It's oppression by a military and government on one side against a people. Triple exclamation mark, end quote.
So you stated just now that Vosh has you blocked and therefore you cannot know if he went into...
Well, I didn't say I cannot know. It's just difficult for me to find out. I have to go through a lot of trouble to access his tweets, you know.
Is it not also the case, though, that you have been reviewing his trans genocide arc for the last week or two?
Indeed, I have. Statements that he's made on YouTube videos.
Have you seen any evidence of Vosh going through Sunni oppression under al-Malik and Murad that justifies the existence of the operation of ISIS arc? Have you seen this on YouTube?
Firsthand, I have not, no.
Would you say that this maybe calls for some serious speculation on your part?
Well, the fact that I precipitated this tweet with the word waiting would imply that it was indeed speculation, yes, as all things in the future are speculated upon.
Do you feel that you were expert witness enough to speculate in such a fashion?
I do consider myself to be quite the expert on Vosh, yes.
There is a question from the jury that's been submitted. Why do you keep smacking your lips? Is the goal to seduce the jury, or what's the goal here?
It's actually a habit that I have when I feel like I'm being confronted with extra aggressive interlocutors. Not to say that you are, but it's a subconscious thing. I'll try to refrain in the future. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Are you just to clarify, Mr. Bonnell, are you saying that you're mildly intimidated in this present moment?
No, I would say that you're playing the role of an intimidator. Not that I'm intimidated.
Can you go to evidence 4.1a?
Oh, chronologically this time. Yes.
Yep. So why do you believe that he posted this in Canadian dollars? And do you think that his donation was rendered basically meaningless because he submitted it in such a useless currency?
I'm just not very familiar with where this screenshot comes from. I'm sorry.
Well, if you scroll up to evidence 4.1, you
I see
the
it.
full context of where this image came from.
I see. PayPal balance. Oh, him submitting. Oh, donating the currency there. I see it. Yes.
Okay. So why do you believe that such a useless, currency was utilized? Isn't that essentially rendered useless? He's essentially donated nothing because he donated it in Canadian dollars.
Well, actually, I think that what happened was somebody probably brought to Lance's attention the idea that he was, in fact, donating to an organization that several other countries have vetted, claim have ties to terrorism. So he probably felt a tinge of guilt and decided to select the CAD option instead of the USD option to inhibit the ability of them to operate with funds that he raised off of his fan base.
Would you agree that the Canadian dollar as a submission, as a monetary capital, is far inferior to perhaps an American dollar?
Absolutely, of course.
Would you agree then that you have a bias and bigotry against Canadian content creators?
I don't think observing reality makes me bigoted. I still accept donations in CAD, for instance.
Yep, I think that's a one-to-one line, but we'll move on. Can you move to 4.1b?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you believe that only $405 was left? Why would Lance only donate $6,500 instead of $7,000 when it's obvious that he could donate a full $7,000?
I think it is a known issue that PayPal will kind of fudge around numbers for highly inflated and worthless currencies. So it is possible that he tried to donate the full amount and PayPal just didn't care.
Because the Canadian dollar is so useless.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Would you have donated more to this company?
Yes. No. To a real charity, yes. But to this particular one, no, I would not have.
All right. So we'll strike maybe your answer. Can you re-answer that question? Would you have donated more to them?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because I don't like to support terrorism.
All right. Can you move to evidence 4.1c?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. What do you read in 4.1c?
It appears to be a blurry message. I don't know, whoever put this here maybe doesn't know how to do image processing correctly or was copy pasting, I guess.
Objection relevance?
Well, the problem is I don't have my glasses on right now, so it's a bit hard for me to read.
Objection coping?
I don't think that's a real thing you could object to, but it looks like it says, Canada, thank you for your generosity. And then English great. And Frank or something might be in distorted blue text there at the end.
Right. Is it not possible, Mr. Bunnell, that the reason why you coped so hard over the serf's donation is because you've never been thanked for any of your generosity?
People thank me for my generosity all of the time, actually.
Submit any evidence for that claim?
I would, but I don't want to embarrass your mom in court.
Fuck. Okay.
And I believe it would be hearsay, so.
Is it not possible, Mr. Bunnell, that when you saw thank you for your generosity, you were filled with such jealous rage that the serfs was thanked for their useless donation of Canadian dollars when you have never been thanked by many backstabbing individuals? And in jealous rage, you coped, you accused the serfs of funding a terrorist regime. And in reality, you're just sad that nobody gives you enough hugs at night.
No.
All right. The jury will note that. We're going to move now to evidence 3.1.
Yes.
All right. Are you there?
Yes.
Wonderful. Could you tell
well, I've heard stories. Do you want me to just recite the most commonly said things, or what?
Could you start by outlining your relationship with this user?
Tenuous. Unsure how much of a relationship we had. It's hard to know how much of a relationship anyone had with this individual. They were quite the rocket on Twitter. Every now and then we would communicate, but I would say that they were, we'll say a distant friend.
Okay. Would you, for example, say third, fourth cousin removed type relationship? If we were looking at tiers of intimate relations, would they be in bubble 1, 2, or 3?
I would say like an orbiter of an orbiter.
Orbiter of an orbiter. Okay.
If I'm the sun, he's like one of the moons of Jupiter, perhaps.
Okay. All right. The jury will note moon of Jupiter. Do you have any evidence that he is a moon of Jupiter?
Well, no, I was comparing him to a moon of Jupiter. Jupiter has many moons, over 50, so he could be one of,
And just to be clear, you do understand that humans cannot be moons of planets, correct?
Yeah, quite literally. It was a metaphor. Okay.
Okay. So why don't you maybe tell us now, can you just read for the jury this evidence?
Sorry in advance for all the rustled jimmies on this one, but can we please stop pretending that every person shot by the cops is a hero? It makes it so much harder to defend the overall movement when people rally behind such flawed characters.
All right, can you read to me the number of likes that this evidence received?
Well, at the time of the screenshot, it says 6, although I'm partial to believe that this individual was far more popular on Twitter than that, so it probably had hundreds.
Objection, speculation, and coping. Can you read to me again the number of likes that this post received?
At the time of the screenshot, 6.
Correct. Okay. Could you maybe outline for the jury what rustled jimmies mean?
I believe it is an analogy that the kids would use for upsettedness. So one might say, instead of you were upset, your jimmies have been rustled.
Do you have any evidence to suggest that you knew that people's jimmies were in fact rustled?
Obama.
Why would I know anything? What do you mean?
Well, it seems like you are preparing people for rustled jimmies, which means that you have some speculation to believe that jimmies would be rustled. I'm asking for evidence that you believed, in fact, that people's jimmies would indeed be rustled by your comment.
I think you're confused, and you mean to be questioning at Gaze Within. I can only answer questions up here as Stephen Bunnell. If I were to guess, in place of this guy, he probably thinks that one of the popular progressive talking points is to engage in an amount of hero worship for any victim of the police, and that questioning that narrative would indeed lead to Jim Jams being rustled, if I had to guess.
Do you have any personal experience with Jim Jams being rustled?
I would say that I've rustled a few Jim Jams in my time, yes.
Why do you believe this makes it hard to defend a movement when there are so many, as you would maybe suggest, coping?
I can only speculate on, you keep asking as though I've written the tweet. I can only speculate on behalf of the tweeter. But my guess is going to be, is when you rally behind fallible characters, the fallible character becomes the focal point of your opposition's attacks. Much the same way that BLM tried to become a decentralized movement without any particular fallible leader, it's probably good if our causes that we rally behind progressively don't rally behind an individual flawed character, especially one like Jacob Blake, because it has the risk of undermining your social messaging. That would be my guess for what @Gaze Within would say.
Mr. Bunnell, would you say that you also like this tweet?
Well, I'm not one of the 6 likes, if that's what you're asking.
No, just do you personally like this tweet?
I find it to be agreeable.
Okay. Would you stand behind this tweet when questioned about it in a public space?
If I was the tweet writer and I had to defend this publicly, I think I would defend it, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let us move then on to... Oh man, we're going to have to leave that until the end. I'm not quite ready to get into the league degeneracy. Let's move now to evidence 1.1, and you will notice there is no link available for this one.
Okay, so this evidence is questionable, but okay.
Okay. Can you read this this piece to me?
All you fucking idiots whose moms I'm actively fucking, standing Sekiro like the combat isn't exactly like every other Souls games, are delusional.
Where do you believe this statement was taken, was in reference to? Who is Sekiro?
Sekiro is another Souls-like game made by the popular Japanese game development studio called From Software.
Okay. Would you argue that, in fact, I know you not to be the original creator of this but would you defend this creator's position?
I will say that the creator has staked out a pretty radical position, but only radical because Souls games fans collectively have an average IQ. It's probably below like 94. So I would defend this tweet knowing that I'd probably get in a lot of trouble for it. But yeah.
Do you have any evidence to suggest that your friend, can you maybe, let's back up. Mm-hmm. Can you outline your relationship to the omniliberal?
I would say he's like an orbiter, not an orbiter of an orbiter, but an orbiter.
Okay, so like in planetary metaphor, where would you stake the omniliberal?
If I'm the sun, he's the earth.
Okay, and you do realize though that humans cannot be planets, correct?
I do realize this.
Okay, great. So what do you believe this person is smoking to have a take like this?
Could have been a nice Cuban cigar. Maybe just some incense in the background. I don't find the take objectionable at all. What are you implying? Well,
it's just, it's quite evident that this take is incorrect and false. And our understanding is that when this post was made, many community members were absolutely outraged because it seems self-evident that the combat is incredibly different. In fact, that's why the game was unique, was because its combat differed from other Souls games.
That's a take. Wow. As a subject expert, I would have to disagree, but I mean, for somebody like you, I could understand.
Objection argumentative. Let's move on to evidence 1.2.
Okay. Have you ever beaten any of those games? Just curious.
Objection argumentative.
Okay.
Can you read out evidence 1.2 for us?
Let's see. Omni Destiny. Now, this is a different tweeter now. This is like an orbiter of an orbiter of an orbiter. But so he says, if you're a liberal, it's time to stop being a pussy and learn how to shoot a gun. And then he puts the iconic up caret smiley face.
Objection incompetent. That is an extremely egregious emote.
I mean, I'm calling it as I see it. We have a response back from Colonel Mitch Peter at Omni Destiny. Gunfights with untrained liberals? Come on, I can only get so hard. Hashtag Civil War. And then the next response is, you're a vet, so you'll probably kill yourself with a gun before you get anywhere near the combat.
What is your relationship to Steve Bennell II?
So this would be an asteroid, a far-off orbiter. This guy was, a little wild, I think, sometimes.
Would you agree that he took your same namesake?
Well, my namesake is already taken from my father, so...
Can you outline who your father is?
Stephen Bonnell I.
Objection, I've heard that your father is Vosh.
Well, how can you object to me stating a fact? I don't know. Do you want me to prove that, or... I'm older than
Objection
Vosh.
coping.
Okay.
Do you notice the blue check mark beside the Stephen Bonnell II's name?
Yeah, it looks to me like a verified Twitter account, so Twitter signed off on that statement 100%.
Correct. Have you done anything to correct Twitter's incorrect identifying of Stephen Bonnell II as you when you are claiming this is not your Twitter account?
I do. I did. I submitted paperwork, and I believe they finally suspended the account for impersonating me.
Right. Do you have any evidence of that account being suspended?
Yes, if you visit the page today, I think it says that account is suspended.
Notice, and again, can you read to me how many likes there are?
Well, this particular tweet has 30 likes. The one above has 35.
Would you say that that is a solid number of likes or a low number of likes for this account?
Well, I'm not sure when the screenshot was taken in the life of the tweet, so it's hard to say.
Well, based on just your understanding, it seems like it was taken at 8:06 p.m.
Well, it looks to me as the tweet above is at 9 minutes earlier. This tweet was probably within the past 5 or 10 minutes, so I'd say 30 is decent if it was immediately made.
If this was your tweet, would you be proud of the amount of engagement on this tweet?
For having only tweeted it a few minutes ago, I think it'd be okay.
Okay. We're going to move on to evidence 1.6, please.
Yes,
Right. Do you have it before you now?
it is indeed.
Okay. Could you read first the original comment and then the quote tweet posted by the OmniLiberal?
Fun fact, 99% of the racism experienced on Twitter that you kids cry about are people hurting your...
I'm going to correct you. Can you read Soldier Boy's comment first, please, and then your own?
Okay. You're not correcting me. You're changing what you initially asked, but that's fine.
Incorrect. I did ask you to read first the original tweet and then the retweet that you posted, but cope away.
Well, the original tweet is the one you're showing me, and then the retweet is the one that's being retweeted, so your diction was unclear, but that's okay. Just because the man calling me a cracker can't also baton me do death, sick, doesn't mean he's not also hurting my fifis. 3 tear emojis.
Would you agree that this writing is unclear?
No, I believe it's pretty clear.
Okay. What does me do death mean?
I believe that it might be a variant of AAVE, and it's just, are you saying that that's not a legitimate way to communicate on Twitter?
Baton me do death seems to be grammatically incorrect. Would you agree with that?
I think that grammatical impositions on other people is a form of language imperialism, so I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Objection argumentative. Can you just answer the question, please? Would
No,
you
I don't
agree
agree
that
with
baton me do death. Okay. You believe that baton me do death is a accurate and sufficient grammatical statement.
For some, it could be, yes. I'm not here to judge them.
Do you personally, would you look at this tweet if you had written it and say, this is good grammar?
With the name Soulja Boy moding, yes, I would.
Can you read the response that you typed? That your friend, the OmniLiberal, typed.
Fun fact, 99% of the racism, in quotes, experienced on Twitter that you kids cry about are people hurting your fifis. Imagine how pathetic you're going... Oh, I'm sorry. Imagine how pathetic you are going to your therapist and showing him screenshots of mean things Pepe Avatar said to you on Twitter. LeMay-yo-wo-wo-wo.
Could you outline for the jury what LeMay-o-o-o-o-o means?
Ordinarily, one might type in LeMayo to signify that they're laughing their ass off. LeMayo means that they're really laughing their ass off.
Can you also outline to the jury what a Pepe Avatar is?
Pepe is a frog that stands for white nationalism.
Do you have evidence of that claim?
Yeah, Google Pepe white nationalist, and they'll all show up together.
Okay. Have you personally ever used a Pepe Avatar?
On occasion, I've been known to.
Would you then suggest that you are associated with the group you associated with the Pepe Avatars?
Not any more than anyone who's ever drawn a swastika becomes a Nazi, no.
Okay. So you utilize the Pepe Avatars yourself, but you personally do not associate with a far-right group. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Can you justify your use of the Pepe Avatar then?
I would have to see the context in which I used it.
Well, this is not your own tweet, correct?
That's correct.
Have you yourself ever gone to your therapist with mean tweets that have been made about you?
I have not.
Why have you not gone to a therapist?
Because I'm not a pussy-ass bitch.
Do you believe that it is beneficial to go to a therapist?
If you're a pussy-ass bitch.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that going to therapy when you have obvious problems is bad.
Yes.
Weak,
Correct.
even.
Yes, I am.
You can say that fully from your chest.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want you to move to evidence 1.8.
Yes.
Can you tell me what this is?
Well, it appears to be a tweet of a Minecraft house built out of mud blocks with a wooden door, oak, if I'm correct, with a meme text overlaid on top of it.
Okay, could you outline to me, as you're comfortable, what the meme text says? If there are swear words, you can choose to say or not say them.
It says broke ninjas saying it's just for one night, but they got the green top.
What does the green top imply?
Well, it seems as though this particular Minecrafter was trying to bring someone over to their house and implied that the mud house was temporary, but due to the fact that grass blocks had already grown and spread fully over the top, would imply otherwise. Seems as though they've been living in a mud house for quite some time.
So it takes, how many days would it take for grass to grow on a mud house?
Well, it's RNG, but are you talking about in Minecraft days or in real life days?
In Minecraft days. This is a picture from Minecraft. I don't know if you're aware of that, but this is not a real image. This is a Minecraft image.
Yeah, but time exists in the game and in real life. But
correct. So
yeah, I would say
in-game time,
in-game, probably about 3 days.
It seems that a friend of yours posted this. Correct?
Correct.
The author is the omniliberal, a person you've identified as an orbit about as close to you as like the Earth is to the sun.
Indeed.
Okay. Do you stand by your friend's tweet?
Well, I mean, seems to be factually accurate. What am I supposed to disagree with here?
I notice, can you read to me the number of likes?
3,833.
Incorrect. I have 3,842.
Perhaps we're looking at different tweets.
Did you reopen the link or did you look at the original image?
I'm just looking at the image you've provided me. I don't know if you know this, but images don't update, so.
Correct, right. But I did encourage you to also open the links. If
you did,
on the link.
But I can open the links if you'd like. Go ahead.
Sure.
No. Okay, now what?
You reread the number of likes, please.
3,842.
You would agree that there are 3,842 likes on this post.
I would indeed.
Would you argue that that means that there are 3,842 people who are perhaps a little bit racist?
No, I don't think so. That sounds like quite the jump.
Okay. Why would you believe that to be a jump?
I don't know where the racism comes from.
Okay. Are you claiming that you don't understand the implications of certain words?
You'd have to point them out to me. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Hearsay. Moving on. Evidence 1.8, please.
The second 1.8 or the first 1.8? I can't tell. They're labeled the same.
The second 1.8, please.
Thank you. Kind of defeats the purpose of labeling them if you use the same label.
Objection argumentative.
Okay.
Outline what this image is.
Well, it seems to be a popular take on the white nationalist meme that hard times create good men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
Would you agree with the sentiment that is outlined here?
I would agree that it's humorous.
Since I can't see your face, are you presently laughing right now?
No, if I was laughing, you'd hear me laugh.
Are you smiling in any way? Just because I can't see your face. So
I can turn my camera on if you'd like.
Your facial expression. Sure, that would be great.
There you go. No, I've not been smiling or laughing at any point in this.
Would you say that you have been coping during this experience?
Nope, I don't believe so.
Okay. Who's Monica?
Wow, my heart attack. It's back. I don't know. Maybe it was somebody that he was tweeting at the time.
Okay.
Are there any monikers in response to this?
I guess we can look together.
You can look. It's your evidence.
I do see a cringe soy response. What's your relationship to cringe soy?
It's usually stuff that I point out and laugh at, but...
Okay. So you wouldn't say that you have a personal relationship with cringe soy?
I would not say so.
So you have no speculation about who Monica could be?
No clue, but whoever it is, they must get told a lot of real shit.
Great. All right. We're going to move on.
Okay.
I'd like to move to evidence 110. You will notice that there is an A, B, C, and D. Can you open 110A for me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you outline what you see there?
A bunch of words. It's a tweet. Would you like me to read the tweet?
Can you read?
Indeed, I can.
Okay. If you feel confident to read it, please do.
Timeline of Destiny's racism. It's okay to say the N-word in private. Fuck your culture. Invade indigenous communities if they have resources you want. Indigenous worldviews are funny and ironic. Telling a minority to go back to Turkey.
What do you think of this tweet?
I would say this person has or at least had a big relationship with soy and cringe.
Would you say that they are friends with the previous named cringe soy member?
Potentially.
Okay. Do you have any evidence for that belief, or do you think that their relationship is based solely on these adjectives?
Just speculative. I have no evidence of it.
Okay. Please try to avoid speculative responses during this trial.
Don't ask me questions I don't know the answer to.
All right. If you don't know the answer, you can just soy out and say that you don't know the answer.
I don't agree that that's soying out, but I can tell you if I don't know.
Okay. So, who is Ram the Bath Boy?
Rem is one of the most popular orbiters in the Destiny.gg community. He is a well-read philosopher who fights on behalf of both indigenous rights and boring philosophy conversations on the Destiny stream.
Okay. Would you say that your relationship with Rem the Bath Boy is close?
It comes and goes. Some would say there's a cycle to it.
What kind of cycle would some say there is?
Well, it's called the REM cycle. I don't have the graph on hand, but essentially there is a REM will engage in some dastardly behavior, stir some shit up, leave the community, come back later, make amends, and then the cycle will rinse and repeat.
Have you personally been a part of the REM cycle?
I have indeed been part of the REM cycle, yes.
Would you say that being caught in the REM cycle is sort of like a disease or ailment?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. What would you
it's
say
more
it is like?
Like a condition.
Okay. Could you make a comparison to planets about what the REM cycle is like to experience?
I'd say the REM cycle is kind of like the four seasons. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows, but if you wait long enough, the sun will always shine again.
So would you say then that REM is an individual that you can trust and you respect their positions and narratives?
Only in the spring and the summer.
Was this what you'll notice? Can you read the date of when this tweet was made?
No, I don't see a date on the tweet.
Can you open the URL link and you will see a timestamp of the tweet?
Okay, now it looks like it was tweeted on June 6th.
Would you agree that June is part of spring?
Indeed.
So based on your own claim, this is a narrative that can be trusted by REM. Or it was posted in spring.
The REM cycle does not follow the normal cycle of the planet Earth, unfortunately. He's on his own cycle.
Okay, so in June, would you say that REM is in a spring, summer, winter, or fall cycle?
Much like the days of God in Genesis, we don't know the length of any particular REM season. He might spend a lot of time in the sun for some months. He might rain on our parade in others. It might be a quick winter or a long night. Just depends on how REM's feeling, you know?
Would you say then that this is a trustworthy narrative?
The narrative of the REM cycle or the narrative of his Twitter?
The narrative of this tweet.
Doesn't look very accurate to me, no.
What can you outline as incorrect in this tweet?
I think the tweeter would probably take issue with the person being told to go back to Turkey as being labeled a minority, I'd imagine, but...
All right. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Well, is he referring to things I've said? Is that...
Just know what you said. You said a minority in Turkey is not necessarily linked. Can you outline
I
what
have
you
to
mean by
guess. I imagine it's probably relating to popular Twitch streamer Hasanabi. Don't know how Omni-Destiny would feel characterizing Hasanabi as a minority. I'm not sure.
All right. Why would you argue that Hasanabi is not a minority?
I would say based on the totality of his behavior, his tweets, his presence on stream, and his political beliefs, he appears to be exceedingly white. And in the United States, white is not currently considered a minority.
Okay. Do you know if your friend responded to this tweet made by Rem?
I do not know.
Do you think that this is an accurate outline of your increased racism over the years?
No, I say I've been pretty consistently racist over the years.
Do you think that that is because of your Aryan blue eyes?
No, I think it's because of my hatred for minorities.
All right, can you please open evidence 10B? If you take a look at it, there's no link. It's pulled from the same link. So
10B or 1.10B?
1.10B.
Okay, I see it.
Okay. Can you read it out?
From a tweeter called 207THS. I think you're being uncharitable with at least the N-word usage. He explicitly said it's about edgy jokes in general, and even then, only in non-bigoted contexts/jokes. And then
right.
Rem seems to respond with, I've written like 2 treatises on his take on private humor. I'm very confident in the representation.
Can you reread that? I noticed that you incorrectly stated one thing. 2 which, please?
Treatises? Treatises?
Treatises? It looks like treatises. Would you agree that it looks like treatises?
The image is very blurry again. I'm sorry, it's hard to read. Some of these images seem like they've been reprocessed 100 times, but if that's what you say it is, then I believe you.
Can you tell us if you've been aware of the 2 treatises that Rem has written about you?
No, unfortunately. The DGG community, sometimes referred to as the Taliban, are prolific writers of fatwas, manifestos, and treatises. So it's possible they've been lost in the cornucopia of works published by that community, of which there are many prolific authors.
And would you say that Rem is one of the many prolific authors of treatises within your community?
I believe he's authored his fair share of effort posts.
What would you outline as it? Can you define for the jury an effort post?
Anytime it looks like somebody has spent more time working on a Reddit post than they would on a 100 level, college level English assignment, I think we call that an effort post.
Okay. So would you say that any work done by Rem has been high quality or low quality?
I would say that it's required a lot of effort.
Okay. Have you seen the 2 treatises that Rem has written about your takes on private humor?
Can't recall.
Would you agree that Rem is speaking about you, Destiny, and not your friend, the omni-liberal?
Appears to be that way, if I'm to read what I'm reading, yeah.
Okay. So if it was the case that it was about you, but your friend took on champions to defend you, would you not agree that that would make the omni-liberal a good friend?
The omni-liberal might have just been farming Twitter likes, for all I know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Can you look at evidence 110C?
I'm there.
What do you see there?
A tweet.
What does it say?
I think you're being uncharitable because you forgot the part where he thinks it's okay to wage war against a society with a different socioeconomic system that is on the same level and concerned to their military as America, and that it couldn't be better because it lost the war.
Can you interpret what this tweet is saying?
It's hard to. I feel like I need a few drinks to make my way through the whatever this is. Appears to be this person has misread several statements I've made in the past, and he's kind of cobbled together some ignorant platform where I believe that countries can beat up any other country and that makes them morally righteous or something like that. I'm not sure, but...
Would you agree that while Corvus appears to be coming in defense of saying that the bath boy, or Rem as we know it, is being uncharitable to you, he then outlines an exceedingly uncharitable position of your takes?
That seems to be the case.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with Corvus Corax podcast?
Directly? Probably no.
Have you ever been on Corvus Corax podcast?
Knowingly? Probably not.
Would you ever go on Corvus Corax podcast?
Depends on what he offers me.
You meaning monetary?
Not only, but could be one thing.
Would you only be willing to go on this podcast for money, or what else would you be willing to go on the podcast for?
There's a great many number of services that could be bartered for.
Are any of these sexual in nature?
Absolutely.
All right. Can you now move on to evidence 110D, please?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What do you see here?
Appears to be a humorous image of an old white lady that's fallen on the ground with the text, "Help, I'm white and I can't shut up." It seems to be in response to something Rem the Bath Boy has said from our good friend Gaze Within, who humorously has a cat avatar with two little hand things that make it look as though the cat is plotting some sort of devious ploy.
Is the cat plotting some sort of devious ploy?
I can't know that. I can't read a cat's mind.
All right. Then why would the void use this as an image?
I don't know. Bring him and question him.
Said that you're friends. Can you speculate on his behalf?
My guess is he probably just used the image because
Objection,
it's cute.
speculation. Can you outline why it says, "Help, I am white and I can't shut up"?
Well, it seems to be that this is a metaphor for Rem himself, that he is indeed white and just can't shut up on Twitter.
Would you agree that Rem is white?
In those past tweets, absolutely.
Do you actually know the ethnic makeup of Rem?
Yes.
What evidence do you have for Rem's ethnic makeup?
The things that he tweets.
So you're identifying white not as an ethnic heritage, but as a Twitter posting style?
No, I just believe that a person's Twitter posting style determines their ethnic makeup.
Okay. Would you say that the void posts in a white way?
Absolutely not.
What way does the void post?
Like a child of the world.
Would you maybe argue that the void is Canadian?
Absolutely not.
And why not, Mr. Bennell?
Because I wouldn't regard the void as subhuman.
So we've acknowledged the Canadian bigotry, correct?
Just observing reality.
So sometimes when bigots feel bigoted towards things, they claim in a coping way that they're observing reality when it's really truly a coping because they want to justify post hoc their fifis.
What's your favorite Justin Bieber album?
This is not the line of questioning, unfortunately, Mr. Bennell. I don't answer your questions, you answer mine.
Okay.
What's your favorite Justin Bieber album?
I don't have one. He's not American.
What if he was adopted? Then what would your favorite Justin Bieber album be?
I don't know, but I'd be pushing to make it illegal to adopt people from other countries in the United States.
Would you agree that maple syrup is delicious?
No.
Why would you not state that maple syrup is delicious?
I think butter and chocolate chips suffice.
That is disgusting. Objection, relevance. Let's move up now to evidence 1.9.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Can you tell me what you see here, Mr. Bennell?
Seems to be a humorous meme relating to a famous actor and a famous civil rights activist.
Okay, can you outline who both of these members are?
Well, in the sky, the transparent figure is an actor known as Chadwick Boseman. He unfortunately died of cancer a few years ago, I believe. He played the Black Panther, so most people know him. The bottom, we have a young man called Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay. What is your relationship to either of these individuals?
Just an observer of both.
Is it not true, though, that if you had an opportunity, you would bring Kyle Rittenhouse onto your stream?
I would.
Okay, so could you maybe argue that your friend, The Void, who is a friend of yours, might also be biased in warm favor towards this individual?
No. I bring many people on my stream. Doesn't mean I'm biased towards them.
I didn't say you, Mr. Bonnell. I said your friend.
Oh, you're asking me if because I would bring one of them on my stream, if he would be biased towards them?
Correct.
He might
But I
be.
do find it interesting that you identify yourself with your friend. Perhaps your level of
no.
closeness is not as you've suggested originally.
Well, the problem is you're mixing up words so much in terms of asking me what I think about something who I'd bring on stream and then what somebody else
Objection
tweeted.
argumentative. Okay. It's very interesting that you have a hard time keeping up. So I'll try to restate this more slowly.
Okay, go for it.
You stated that Kyle Rittenhouse is an individual that you personally would be interested in potentially bringing on stream, correct?
Yep. Yeah, true.
You also stated that just because you would bring him on stream does not mean that you personally like him, correct?
True.
But was the question not whether your friend would like him?
If the stenographer wants to read it back or whatever, then if that's what you said, that's what you said. Okay.
Okay. So would you agree that you engaged in a Freudian slip?
No, I would not.
Would you agree then that your friend, even though you claim it to be a closeness of a Jupiter moon, it is in fact much closer, in fact, maybe a dear and close friend of yours?
You should bring him here and ask him that. It's not
Right.
It's not for me to
Would you
speculate on.
agree that you're basically in bed with the Void?
I might have been in bed with voids before, but not with this one. No.
Could you clarify what you mean by that?
No, I won't.
Can you clarify the purpose of this tweet?
Well, it seems to be, I don't know, just a humorous tweet. What is the purpose of any tweet? I'm not sure. Probably to get engagement, to make people smile, make people laugh, make the world a better place.
Can you outline what's funny about this tweet?
Unfortunately, there are so many levels of meta irony over things that it's hard to, I don't know if somebody like you would understand, you know?
It is difficult, but do try.
Well, I would say there's many levels of humor here. At the very foundational level, we have a bit of a shocking joke that Kyle Rittenhouse would be trusted to watch anything, given that the man was on trial for 2 killings. And Boswick, watching over the skies, is a bit tasteless as he just passed away from cancer. So on one level, it's a bit offensive. There's a second level of offensiveness that implies that Rittenhouse would be responsible for watching the hood when, again, he is charged with killing members of Black Lives Matter. Probably not the most appropriate figure to watch the hood. There's a third level of offensiveness that you would pair a black man with a young child, white conservative Christian, many have accused of being a white supremacist, with killing members of BLM. And yeah, I would say those are probably the 3 levels of offensiveness to the tweet.
Right. Would you agree that, let me change that. Would you characterize Kyle Rittenhouse as white?
I would, indeed.
Okay. Would you agree then that you may have a bias towards one of these figures because they're white?
As a child of the world, no, I would not.
But did you not just claim that you have had racism for a long time, that your racism has not, in fact, increased over time, but remained?
Equally racist against all ethnic groups.
Correct. Would you agree that white people are not an ethnic group?
No.
What is your substantiation for that claim?
Everybody can be an ethnic group if they identify that way.
Would you argue that you are an expert on ethnic histories?
Of course.
You are an expert on ethnic histories.
Yes.
What is your education in this?
4chan.
So it is your expert testimony that white people are an ethnicity.
That's correct.
Is it your testimony that you hate the white ethnicity as much as any other ethnicity?
Absolutely.
Is there any other expertise in ethnicity that you have?
As a child of the world, I believe to be an expert in all ethnicities.
Do you think, Mr. Bunnell, that most people would recognize your credentials?
No, I don't think so.
Have you been submitted to this court as an expert in ethnicities or in basically any topic?
Yes, but probably under an alias.
What alias were you submitted to this court under?
I'm not comfortable repeating the name.
Okay. Can you tell me, Mr. Bunnell, did you complete high school?
I did.
And what was your grades? You can just say,
Passing.
average, superior. Passing?
Yes.
Were these grades sufficient to get you into a university?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. And what did you go into university for?
Woodwind performance.
Woodwind performance. That's a little cringe.
I disagree.
Okay. And how many years of university did you complete your bachelor's?
I did not.
Okay. So you are not an expert in woodwind music then. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you are not an expert in ethnicities.
I graduated from my time in 4chan. I didn't graduate Woodwind Performance University.
So are you telling me that you could not perform for this court woodwind performance?
I could perform, just not up to the level of a graduated college student.
Right. So you're telling us that your level of education is university dropout, but that the rest of your education came from a select area of the internet?
I didn't go to university to study ethnic relations. So insofar as I know woodwind performance, it is at the level of college dropout. That's correct.
Okay. Would you then argue that you are also maybe qualified to be an armchair psychologist?
I believe that most people are.
Okay. You've read enough articles online about psychology.
Yeah, I believe the average psychologist or the irrelevant spin-offs probably just have to read a few Psychology Today articles and probably pick up 95% of what they need to know. Yeah.
And you're basing this on what evidence?
Just the overwhelming amount of confusion in the field of psychology, the general inefficaciousness of their medications, the horrible representation they have of figures, both online on Twitch and YouTube and in the more popular media world like Jordan Peterson, the vast differences in the qualities of therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists, the unwillingness of many psychologists to engage in heavily empirically validated research, the arbitrary spin-offs of psychology into 10 or 15 different things like psychometrists or whatever. I think there's a good number of reasons to believe that they're...
Okay, objection, incompetent.
Incompetence? Yeah, that would be another thing I would say. Yeah, generally. Were you adding to my argument or?
No, I was objecting.
Oh.
If the jury can strike that last comment.
Okay.
Mr. Bunnell, if I can encourage you to not be argumentative.
Just making
answer the
an
questions that you're being
observation.
given.
I'm answering as honestly as I can.
Yeah, and we'll continue to strike your statements that are irrelevant and argumentative.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, can you move to evidence 1.9b?
I'm there.
Okay, can you read what that post is?
Steve, stop.
Who's Steve?
I don't know. I mean, my name is Steven. Maybe Gaze Within's name is Steve.
Can you reopen that link that is on evidence 1.9b?
No, I cannot.
Can you please do that anyways?
There's no link there to click.
At 1.9, there is a link if you scroll up.
You said 1.9b.
I said 1.9. If you scroll up, can you reopen that?
Yep.
I'm going to move on to 1.9.
Okay. You mean move back, right?
Objection, argumentative.
Okay. It's loading, but it's taking a while.
Just let me know when it comes up for you.
It's up?
Okay. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
See that frog?
It hasn't loaded yet, but I'm assuming it's from Joe 835275568.
Correct. We'll take a moment until it comes up for you.
Okay.
See it now?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Would you agree, Mr. Bennell, that that is a very cute frog?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're just testing your bounds within reality. Obviously, if you had said no, there would be some serious concerns about your in touchedness with grass. What expression does this frog have?
Say a questioning expression, like, what are you doing? Or why are
Would you
doing
say that this is a pay frog?
Oof. No, I wouldn't.
Could you example for the jury that frog's expression for us?
Is that sufficient?
If you could just sustain that for a little bit longer, one of our jury members, very, very slow.
Okay, I'll try one more time. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Bennell. You use that stare often to intimidate your interlocutors.
No,
Why not?
because I can do that with my words.
Objection relevance? I would suggest, in fact, to you, Mr. Bennell, that the reason you don't use that stare is you know that it would attract everyone immediately to you. Then you wouldn't be able to engage in good conversation because they would just be simping out. Would that be correct?
No, I can't really help the attraction that I have to all sorts of other people, unfortunately.
Would you agree that some other streamers have adopted that stare style for intimidation tactics?
It's possible.
Okay. Can you think of any streamers who do use staring to intimidate their...
Off the top of my head, no, I can't.
So if you move down, you can see the post from evidence 1.9b. CETO. Do you recognize the CETO post from the evidence docket?
Yep.
Okay, and what does it say there again?
Steve, stop.
Right, so you notice that this is in response to the Void's post, correct?
That would seem to be the case, yes.
Okay, so my understanding is that you're friends with the Void, correct?
Yeah, you could say that.
And your name is Steven?
That is correct.
Would you sometimes shorthand your name to Steve?
No, never.
Never. You've
Never.
never had people shorthand your name to Steve.
That's my dad's name.
Okay. So if there are other examples, for example, maybe your wife. Has your wife never called you Steve?
Never.
I just want to remind you, Mr. Bennell, that lying on the stand could be considered perjury. We do have sufficient evidence to suggest counter. Would you like to amend your statement?
The only possible evidence you could submit to counter that would be bruises on my wife's face, because if she called me Steve, I would beat the shit out of her. And I don't believe those pictures exist, so she has never called me Steve. If you have evidence to the contrary, I challenge the court to present that right now.
All right. We will begin working on that quickly. It's probably important to understand then your relationship with women. Do you remember the individual named Monica?
Indeed.
Is Monica and Steve related?
Monica is my very close friend.
Inner circle close?
You could say that.
Okay. And you're still not willing to elucidate, though, who Monica is. Because before, you claimed that you do not know who Monica is. But now you're outlining to us that you do, in fact, know who Monica is. And she is, in fact, a close friend.
I have a close friend named Monica. I'm not sure if that's the same Monica that was being referred to in the tweet from the other person.
Okay. So, some serious coping. Very good. We'll move on. We're going to move on to some seriously concerning behavior that you've engaged, that your friends have engaged in. And we'd like to know what level of support you have for your friends. So if you can move to evidence 2.1, please.
I am seeing this.
You have seen this.
I am seeing this now for the first time, I believe.
Could you read this tweet to me, Mr. Bennell?
It says, SFW edit. God, I love the way she's looking at me. I can just imagine her whispering, is that a rocket in your pocket?
And who is this?
Who is who?
Who is this in the image?
In image 2.1, there is no image.
If you pull up the link, if you don't mind opening and pulling up the link. Or you can roll down to evidence 2.1a. The image is available.
Okay, I see now. This appears to be a popular League of Legends champion. It goes by the name of Tristana.
What is your relationship to Tristana?
I played this champion in darker periods of my life.
What are the images on Tristana's rear end?
They seem to be images of my wife with her eyes wide open. A surprised expression on her face.
How do you believe your friend was able to get these images of your wife over top of Tristana?
I believe these images were publicly available at the time.
Do you have evidence of where this photo came from?
Nope.
This exact expression of hers?
No, I don't.
So it's theoretically possible that this photo could have been taken quickly on a phone camera to take a snapshot of your wife.
Theoretically possible.
Does this look like the type of imagery that your wife typically posts?
No, but I might post it of her without her consent on my Twitter.
Okay. Do you agree that you often do things against women's consent?
Yes.
What does SFW mean?
Safe for work.
Is this image actually safe for work?
Depends on where you work, I guess.
Would you agree that Tristana has a very young appearance?
No.
How old do you believe Tristana to be?
50 years old. Yordles age in a much different way than humans do.
Can you outline for the jury what a Yordle is?
Yordle is the species that Tristana belongs to.
What kind of species is this? No.
What do you mean, what kind of species?
What is a Yordle?
Well, it's a race of spiritual beings that usually are bipedal creatures. They come from a city known as Bandle City. They're usually blue or purple.
Okay. Would you agree that her ears are much more animal-like than human ears?
Tristana's? Sure.
Okay. If you look at her ear closely, do you notice the fluff on her ear?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about the fluff on her ear?
Indifferent.
I don't know if I believe you.
I guess that's for the jury to decide.
Okay. I just noticed as I pointed to the fluff, you had a minute facial reaction.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I believe your nostrils flared a little bit when you saw the fluff on her ear.
Sorry, I was distracted by your belly cleavage from your inappropriate outfit that you showed up today in court in.
That's fair. I am very distracting. So Tristana is a somewhat, would you agree, anthropomorphized race? There's bestial elements to the race?
One could say that.
Okay. Would you agree that this Tristana pose is very alluring?
I could see someone saying that, for sure.
Would you agree that Tristana is thick with 2 C's?
Depend on how she's drawn. As presented in League of Legends, probably not, but in some of the extended universe drawings of her, I could see someone saying that.
Okay. In this image itself, would you agree that she appears thick with 2 C's?
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, yes.
Could you outline to us what that means, Stephen? Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal?
Well, you see, I think it's self-evident if you look at the picture.
Answer the question, please, Mr. Bennell.
So, sometimes when you stir oatmeal, it can be real thick. And the consistency of the oatmeal, the amount of pushback when you're scooping the spoon through it, looks similar to what Tristana's thick, juicy ass would give if you were to prod it in a similar way. So,
what sound does thick oatmeal make when you kind of stir it around?
I don't know. I don't have any thick oatmeal to replicate the sound, unfortunately.
Do you think you could attempt to try? I know oftentimes on your stream it's noted that you make a unique sound as well. That sounds oftentimes what might be quoted as similar to thick oatmeal.
Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do it unless you'd like to help. I don't think I can replicate that sound.
Unfortunately, I'm not the one on trial, Mr. Bennell, so that will be left up to you to do. Can you?
Unfortunately, I don't have what I need in court today in order to do that. But
could you maybe describe then to the jury what thick oatmeal sounds like when you stir it around?
Fortunately, due to the composition of this particular jury, I'm not sure if they would understand even if I described it to them.
Is that because why do you believe the jury would be unable to understand? Are you implying that our jury is low IQ, unintelligent?
I just believe they don't have the frame of reference necessary to understand those types of noises.
Are you implying then that they've not had a certain type of experience required to know what that noise is?
Yeah, I would imply that.
Okay, and what would that experience be, Mr. Bennell?
Either stirring a thick cup of oatmeal or smacking a thick Yordle booty.
Have you yourself ever slapped a thick Yordle booty?
I don't think that's relevant to this case.
Well, you're implying that you know the noise, you're just not able to replicate it for people.
Why do
and you're
you
also
assume
implying
that I'm smacking thick Yordle booty and not just stirring oatmeal?
Is that the case, that you only know this noise from thick Yordle, from thick oatmeal?
It could be.
Then why would you have made the reference? Why would you have made the reference to her booty being thick like oatmeal if you've never experienced Yordle booty?
Just something I assume by looking at the picture.
Okay. What do her eyes tell you, Mr. Bennell?
Melina's eyes or Tristana's eyes?
Tristana's eyes. We'll start there.
What do they tell me? Is that what you're asking?
What are they communicating to you?
They look like they're saying, fuck me.
Is that what you read?
Yeah.
Are there any other interpretations of her expression that are possible?
No.
There are no other interpretations of her expression.
Not in that position, no.
Is it not possible that she just wants some thick oatmeal?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And how do you know this?
Spent a lot of time playing Tristana. I'd consider myself an expert on her wants and needs.
Ah, I see. You have much experience with the Yordle.
One of many Yordles, yes.
Ah, so you've been engaged with many Yordles.
I have experience with many Yordles, yes.
Have you ever been charged with bestiality, Mr. Bennell?
In a criminal sense?
Correct.
No.
Have you ever been charged with bestiality in a public sense?
No.
Have you ever been implied of having some sort of bestial fetish by any community members of yours or within your own Reddit?
Sure, it's possible.
Would you agree with these characterizations of you?
Not publicly.
Meaning that you would agree with it, but you won't state it in this space?
Well, if that was the case, it would be pretty stupid of me to say not publicly. It just means that I don't wish to address those questions publicly.
But you would agree that Tristana is very attractive, she is thick, and her eyes are saying fuck me, correct?
Well, if I'm to believe that there are any objective standards of beauty, I would say that Tristana meets and exceeds those, of course.
Okay, and you would also agree that her ears are very animal-like.
Indeed.
So it would be reasonable to presume that you may, in fact, be somewhat attracted to animal-like features. Is that correct?
If you wish.
I'm going to move on now to evidence 2.2. If you can open the actual archive link, as the image itself is quite small.
Your sources take a while to load. Sorry, hold on. I see it.
Okay, can you read this tweet to us?
Do you think Yordle pussy is tighter than human women, or is it looser since they have to accommodate those massive Yordle cocks?
Can you tell me the meaning behind this?
I believe the meaning is self-explanatory. Do I need to break out a dictionary?
Is it well documented, Mr. Bennell, that Yordles have massive cocks?
It's not, which is why the tweet is phrased in the form of a question.
Are you defending then? Are you saying that you would stand behind your friend here?
That it's
in this question?
Of course.
Yeah, in this line of
It's
questioning.
an interesting question, yeah.
What do you think the answer is to this question, Mr. Bennell?
I don't believe the quality of any genitalia can be ruined by repeated intercourse with any other genitalia, so I'd say they probably are tighter than human women, as Yordles are known to be.
Okay. Yordles are known to be tighter than human women?
They're mystical, spiritual creatures, so I'd imagine so, yeah.
What do you believe the nature of this question is? Do you believe it to be a scientific inquiry or a Coomer inquiry?
Why not both?
Potentially. I'm just curious about what your position. Are you now stating that you believe this is both a scientific inquiry and a Coomer inquiry?
Could be both. Many scientific inquiries could be Coomer inquiries and vice versa, right?
How do you believe the public felt about this post?
Well, it would probably depend on what your position was on Yordle pussy.
And what is your position on Yordle pussy?
Agnostic.
Agnostic as in you do not believe them to exist, or you're uncertain?
I'm uncertain.
You're uncertain about the existence of Yordle pussy.
I'm uncertain about the tightness of said Yordle pussy.
Okay. If you had an opportunity to explore this scientific inquiry, what are further scientific questions that you might have?
We'd have to find out the size of the average Yordle cock. We'd have to find out whether or not Yordle pussy continuously accommodates said massive cocks, and whether or not Yordle pussy goes back to normal once accommodation has happened.
Is this a scientific inquiry that you yourself would like to explore?
I'm not willing to answer that question in here today.
Okay. Is this a scientific exploration that you would support others to explore?
I support everybody in their endeavors to better themselves as people and explore what they want to explore.
Would you financially back a scientific inquiry into this question?
Would I back a scientific inquiry? Sure.
Okay. Would you donate precisely 6,405 Canadian dollars to this scientific inquiry?
Sure.
Do you believe that your friend the Serfs would donate this money to this scientific inquiry?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him.
Okay. How important do you think this question is?
On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it a 5. I would also say, if I could petition the court, I do indeed have other obligations in the 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. We'll wrap up here pretty soon. We'll maybe end on this. If you go to evidence 2.3, the image below there, who do you see?
A popular League of Legends champion by the name of Janna.
Janna. And do you believe that Janna is hotter or less hot than Tristana?
There are different kinds of hotness. It'd be like comparing a brunette and a blonde. I don't think you can do that.
But you would agree that the ears are similar. Elongated.
Would I say that the ears are similar? Yeah, they do appear to be pretty similar. Yeah.
If you move on to evidence 2.4, who is that?
Kaisa, another League of Legends champion.
And would you agree that there's much purple going on in this image, similar to Tristana?
Tristana has far more purple.
True, but would you agree that there is also purple in this image?
There is indeed purple in this image, yeah.
And it's used aesthetically to make the character look more attractive, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
More menacing, I guess, but...
Evidence 2.5, who is this character?
Ari.
And who is Ari?
One of the best Rule 34 poser models in all the Rule 34 hentai world.
Okay.
An extensively modeled champion from the game of League of Legends, Ari. She's a fox.
She is a fox, correct.
Both metaphorically and literally.
So based on even these 3 examples, would you agree that there are better options to simp over than Tristana?
No, I think they're all beautiful and unique in their own ways.
Well, you would agree that if animal vibes are your thing, you could go to Ari. And if purple was your thing, you could go to Kaisa. And if you liked elongated ears, you could go to Janna. Would that be correct?
What if I wanted purple people with elongated ears that were kind of like animals?
I don't know why you would want that. Do you want that, Mr. Bennett?
No, but I'm saying that if one did, you could find all 3 of those qualities neatly in a little Yordle package instead of having to settle for just one of those 3 qualities in one of these inferior champions.
Okay. I want to finish with last evidence of evidence 2.6.
Yes.
Open that and tell me what it says.
Eugenics is like so unethical, quote unquote, only because we haven't found the genes that make people jungle manes.
What What is a jungle main, Mr. Bennell?
Jungle mains are kind of like they're kind of like the worst off in society that have had the most help. So they're not like out on the street, homeless, poor, and hungry, but they're kind of like been carried through life by society around them. They tend to be useless people. They drag down everybody else around them, but there's so much support around them that they can't properly fail and just drop out of society like they should.
Would you agree, Mr. Bennell, that oftentimes when people play League, they engage in much coping?
It's possible, yeah.
Would you believe that, would you agree then that in League, many people, when they're sucking at the game, often opt to blame their other team members rather than looking inward?
Depends on the roles.
Okay. Would you agree that many people rage out and schizopost while playing League?
Depends on the roles.
Okay. Would you agree that jungle mains do this?
Absolutely.
And what role do you play, Mr. Bennell?
I play the hardest role. It's called AD carry or marksman.
And do you believe that individuals who play AD carry or marksman engage in these types of behavior?
Impossible, because typically, in order to unfairly blame your teammates, it would imply that blame placed on your teammates is unfair. But in the AD carry role, your teammates are required to play at an exceptional level to make sure that you can competently carry out your role in team fights. So if an AD carry is complaining, it's likely because a teammate is messed up.
So you would agree that AD carries are the most dependent role?
Unfortunately, yes.
So you would agree then that they're very soy?
No, I don't think there's anything soy about being dependent on others.
So while dependent on others, therefore you can blame others for your failures?
Well, I like to consider it more as a team working together to get something done. And if somebody in the team messes up, I mean,
objection, cope.
It's not a cope, it's just fact, but...
Did you ever yourself achieve platinum, Mr. Bennell?
I've achieved far beyond platinum.
What level have you achieved at this
Diamond
point?
1, when Diamond 1 was the highest rank there was to achieve.
Objection, coping.
It's just a fact, but okay.
Yep, just answer. So what is the highest level you have achieved?
Diamond 1.
What is the highest level possible to be achieved?
Well, today it's Grandmasters.
Okay, and you have never achieved Grandmaster?
No, I have not.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you so much for your time, Mr.
Sure there's nothing else? There's a lot of other tweets in here.
Well, you said you needed to go in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so...
Yeah, we can resume in an hour if you want. Where did you get all these?
I had a little help from some of my friends. Your community is extremely helpful and just, willing to engage. They also seek the truth.
Yeah, do they? Dude, these are banger tweets.
Yeah, there's a couple bangers I did not include.
I just need to retweet all of these every now and then. Oh my god. Okay.
And I followed the rule. Nothing's even older than 3 years. I kept it very relevant.
Well, no, a couple of those were from I think a couple of these were 3 years old, but
I think 3 is the max. I think I tried to stay within 2019. There might be one 2017 one because it was such a banger that I
gotcha.
not include it. Do you believe all of these to be tweets by yourself or your friends?
Yeah, they do seem to be that.
Where are you going for an hour? Are you coping over fire?
Moderate a panel with Pisco and a couple other people, so... Why didn't you just put these in order of your questioning?
Oh,
What was this tweet in response to?
Which one? I don't know which one you're at.
With my black face.
Honestly, I think in the archive it might be there.
Holy shit, that is a fucking banger tweet. What did I respond to? I think somebody was mad. They were saying something like, you can't use the N-word.
Probably.
But this guy can. Jesus. Okay. All right. I'm going to go do the Pisco stuff. Be careful, okay?
Okay, have fun.
Yeah, I'll message you later if you're still awake. Have fun. Be careful.
Bye.
Okay, shit. I thought that was going to be an ultra serious Twitter roasting thing. I was not ready for that.